Hi, I'm Captain Scott Larson, Negotiating Committee Chairman for the FedEx Master Executive Council. I'm here today with two members of the Negotiating Committee, Captain Tom Manning and First Officer Andrew Minnie. The end of February will mark the one-year anniversary of our amendable date of our contract. We think it's important to review where we are and how we got here.
Okay, thank you, Scott. As you remember, in January 2011, ALPA and FedEx reached a tentative agreement on a 2-year hybrid contract that contained improvements to the following sections: per diem, medical standards and sick leave, investigation and discipline, and flight pay loss banks for our safety programs. Additionally, letters of agreement were reached in several key areas, including ASAP, FOQA, data collection, ICAO, Iraq and Afghanistan flying, and foreign duty assignments. And as you remember, this agreement also provided for 2 3% pay raises, as well as 1% lump sum payment.
That's right, Tom. An innovative and key component of the 2011 CBA was the inclusion of midterm discussions prior to the new amendable day. They were designed to produce productive work outside of formal negotiations in anticipation of the next round of bargaining in early 2013. 18 months of midterm discussions ensued, with over 40 full-language proposals being passed at the table. Sections discussed including traveling expenses, deadheading, filling of vacancies, scheduling, and foreign duty assignments. Additionally, during this time, we also successfully reached agreement in the first of 2 FDA ongoing implementation measures.
One of the underlying goals of the midterm discussions was positioning ourselves to reach a successful conclusion of a full CBA earlier than we've normally seen in Section 6 negotiations. We believe this was accomplished while we were still receiving the pay increases in 2011 and 2012. In December 2012, we informed the company that we would be opening Section 6 negotiations in January of 2013.
So the question I've always been asked over last year is what's been achieved over the past year in formal negotiations? Well, all 21 sections were opened by both sides have been passed. In fact, over 50 full-language proposals have been exchanged, and we are currently bargaining the big dollar sections of work rules, retirement, and insurance. And in March 2013, you remember, we negotiated an agreement on the introduction of the 767. That was ratified in April of 2013. In October 2013, we reached another agreement on the second FDA ongoing implementation measures document that addressed many of the shortfalls identified by our FDA pilots. So let's now recap our goals in each section we opened during Section 6.
In Section 3 compensation, we need meaningful increases in pay rates, including new hire provisions. Longevity, retro, and international overrides also must be addressed. In the work rule sections of 4, 12, and 25, we need to address and improve on issues like 4A2B, duty limits, and quality of life. We need to improve and clarify various scheduling protections and procedures. We need clear fatigue language and limits on operational revisions. Internationally, we need to address problems with minimum rest and reset provisions, the applicability of the international grid, and multiple time zone transits. Several quality of life issues demand attention, including scheduling conflicts, open time availability, trip trade processing and assignment, contingency drops, and BLG line spreads. We also must address problems with our reserve and secondary line systems.
In Section 5, traveling expenses, we're seeking an increase in per diem rates and addressing issues involving catering and layovers. In Section 8, deadheading, our proposals are centered on the problems with accepted fares, the deviation bank system, class of service, and deviation provisions. In Section 9, miscellaneous flying, we're actively discussing issues unique to our flight test program.
In Section 11, training, we need to address several instructor issues, including proficiency, credibility, and scheduling. We also must define the ever-expanding role non-seniority professional instructors play in our training program. In Section 18, witness and representation, we proposed improvements to the flight pay loss system to help cover the costs associated with the numerous jobs our pilots perform for the company outside of line flying. And in Section 26 General, we're seeking improvements to our jump seat system, uniforms, as well as we believe the corporation should pay for the known crew member program.
In Section 27, insurance, we need improvements to our health care. We need to address the Affordable Care Act and limit premium increases without decreasing our benefits. We also need to improve on our insurance plans and address retiree health care. In Section 28, Retirement, our goals remain to improve our retirement plans, increase our pension security, and remove impediments to retirement. In the Foreign Duty Assignment LOA, we need to address housing eligibility, increasing housing and education costs, remail, and FDA-specific scheduling parameters.
As you know, in addition to these sections we opened, we're also actively engaged in other sections opened by the company. These include scope, relocation expenses, vacation, leaves of absence, and seniority. As we've consistently told you since it was first proposed in October 2012, the company's main proposal in work rules and vacation was the introduction of a pilot interactive bidding system. No matter what they want to call it, their proposal would usher in full PBS on this property. We've been steadfast in our position on PBS. We do not believe it is ratifiable here at FedEx, especially with the ever-increasing problems we see with transparency, cooperation, collaboration, and most importantly, trust. Your reaction to Flight Management's PBS propaganda campaign was loud and clear. PBS has no place in our regular line system. We know it, the MEC officers know it, your elected MEC reps know it, and Flight Management knows it. So where does that leave us after midterm discussions and a full year of Section 6 bargaining? All open sections of the contract have been passed multiple times, and with the exception of work rules, training, retirement, and insurance, they're substantially complete. Improvements have been made. In recent sessions, there's been a noticeable increase in the tempo, tone, and substance in the company's proposals, but substantial work remains in work rules, training, insurance, and retirement. That doesn't mean we have years to go, or even a year to go. If the company wants to conclude these negotiations in fairly short order, we are ready. It doesn't mean we're going to shortchange any section or accept a concessionary deal. Far from it. There simply isn't any reason to protract these negotiations. We are ready to move forward and complete negotiations in the outstanding sections and bring you the contract you've earned. Focused, realistic, and fair. The FedEx line pilot deserves nothing less.